In the name of Amen the Supreme, the All Powerful, the one and only true Lord, and Amen we trust as the Republic of Mentellect, the true 144,000 elect that's being gathered in this day and time, the Mentellians. Menzeka Aminun to all of my Mentellian brothers and sisters out there, registered members of the Republic of Mentellect, and to all future Mentellians who have yet to find their way home to the Republic of Mentellect, which is Amen's covenant. I send greetings out to you, and I send peace to you in our Mentellian language by saying to you, Menzeka Aminun. Good evening, I'm your host, the intellectual Newman Mengares, and this is Mentellect Radio. Tonight, we're going to be discussing the artificial mentality and energy of the human race, because they do vibrate on that, and it's important that you understand that. That way you understand the limitations within the human race when it comes to thinking, applying logic, not falling for beliefs, not being able to fathom simple, logical, and rational things, which should come to easily to a thinker. The more and more you describe things, explain things, and give logical, rational conclusions and explanations to what you're saying, the more and more you will lose the average person, because the average person does not move by way of natural intelligence and natural power, which is based on logic and rationale. Right? Everything here is based on logic and rationale. So the thinker, the one who is the receiver, the transmitter, the receptor, has to also move the same way, off of the same logic and rationale. Anything that doesn't move off of logic and rationale, right, is moving off of an artificial intelligence and artificial mentality and energy. That which I've told you is spiritual energy. Spiritual energy is that energy. I'm going to show you something. Notice, and I said to you all, that spirit deals with water and the soul deals with fire. Spirit deals with water, soul deals with fire. Notice you can contaminate water. You can contaminate water. You can dump things in liquid forms. You can contaminate water all the time, but you cannot contaminate fire. You cannot contaminate fire. What do I mean by that? What I mean is, just as water can be contaminated, poisoned, right? Worm-rooted, worm-wooded, so can the spirit. So can spiritual energy. Spiritual energy can be tampered with, poisoned, right? Same thing, same principle of water. If you're moving off of a water-based energy, right, and water can be poisoned, tampered with, so can the mentality of the human race who moves off of spiritual energy. Now, those who are of the almond race who move off of the solar mindset, a solar mentality, right, they cannot be poisoned because their focus is pure power, pure brightness, searing hot fire. That searing hot fire is representing a single focus. You ever see they show you this energy, this power where people have that single focus. They focus on something long enough, or you focus on something, and eventually, it said you can ignite fire or smoke to it, or you'll concentrate a magnifying glass on something, the sunlight, and it'll eventually burn an anthill. It can cause a fire. That's the type of magnetic pulsation of solar energy that comes from those who carry that natural mentality, that natural intelligence, because they're single-minded. They're single-minded. Those who are spiritual are double-minded, right? They're double-minded. Their flow of energy, their flow of mental energy can go in any direction, right? It can go in any direction. It can be tampered with. It can be poisoned, right? And because of that, their minds move on an artificial transmission, or should I say a submission, which again tells you why they move off of belief instead of logic. They go off of what they believe instead of what logically makes sense. This is why they will always be moving in a circular rotation of routine and ritual. And they won't ask themselves, do these rituals and routines, do we need them? Do they make sense? Are they going to move us forward? No, because they're not looking to move forward. They're not looking to move forward. They're looking to just keep moving. And if that means in a rotation, which they're not even really cognizant of, they're not even paying attention to the fact that they're going nowhere, they're moving no place, then that's a sign that their artificial intelligence, their artificial mentality and energy is not extended. It's limited. It's limited. Right? Why do you think the so-called white man could put out just talk about producing artificial beings, right? Sex robots and things like that, because that's just the beginning of introducing artificial life forms, AIs as they call them. Why do you think you can do that? Because when introducing artificial life forms, the whole idea of that, straight up introducing computers or machines or robots, is to replace humans. Now, the reason why they show you that this is an idea to replace human life is because that human life is basically the same thing. It's artificial. It's robotic. It is incapable of solutions, only problems. It is incapable of solutions, only problems. Incapable of solutions, only problems. The solution is only given by way of the programmer. The one who is being programmed has no solutions. They will keep going in the same rotation, dealing with the same problem over and over and over again. Sound familiar, black people? Why do black people still keep having this conversation about race? Why does the white race keep going back and forth with black people about race, race, race? Why do they keep having the same conversation? Why does the society, people in the society, still have the same conversations, not just race, but politics, the atmosphere, the environment, ecology? Why are they still having the same conversations and not really reaching any real solutions? Answer: because they're not programmed to reach solutions. They're not programmed as artificial intelligence, artificial mentality, and energy. They're not programmed that way. They're not programmed to be those who can logically apply rational solutions to get an answer. They're not programmed that way. Humans are not programmed that way. The average human is not programmed to be a thinker. The average human is programmed to be a believer, to move off of artificial intelligence, to move off of information. Right? One of the brothers came to me and he was like, he said that these people in the conscious community was having this big debate about, are we Indians or are we Africans? Are we Indians? Are we Africans? Right? And they kept going back and forth about this. And I said, why would you even consider yourself evil one? Because both terminologies come from the white man. They both come from man. How do you define yourself by what some man says, a man who walks on 2 feet, goes to the bathroom, and does all these things? Wouldn't you be more concerned with what the Creator said you were? The ones who created you, started life here on this earth, wouldn't you be more concerned with that? The Creator didn't call you African. The white man did. The Creator didn't call nobody Indians. The white man did. Right? So, question. If he called you these things, if he would have called you a European, if he said that place where everybody come from is Europe and called everybody Europeans, you'd be arguing over being Europeans. But because, and I bring this point up because they don't think that far to even stop having the conversation. Just call yourself something totally different. They don't think that far to just stop having the conversation. They don't think that far that, they're sitting up here talking about how proud they are. And I was going to say this was an exercise of futility. When the Black Panther came out, this thought came to me about how proud so-called black people were about a cartoon character, a fictitious character, a superhero. How proud they were about that. A superhero that was created by 2 white Jews. Two Caucasian Jews. Basically, their whole world was in a state of bliss over characters that were over a character or characters that were created by two Caucasian Jews. People who don't look like them, are not the same culture, nothing. So basically, it's like in their mind, God's handed down an image of a character that they now rejoice over. Now, if you say this to so-called black people, right, they'll have a meltdown. But they don't think that far ahead because now they also move off an artificial mentality and energy, meaning they have no ability to think for themselves. They're programmed to think to a certain limitation. Same way Caucasians are too. They're programmed to think to a certain level as well. That's why I told you all before, they can't see past a certain, that they can act as though they see you as different or that they have evolved in their way of thinking when it comes to race, politics, ecology, all these things that history, all world events and views, but they have not. They haven't. They're not programmed to go beyond what they understand. And if you notice, it always loops back into a rotation. I told you the people who have that artificial mentality and energy, their mindset or their mentality works on a loop. It works on a loop. The same way they were thinking 500, 5,000, whatever, 1,000 years or whatever, how long you want to say going back, is the same way these people are thinking today. They just call it different things for the way they think, right? The same way they were pro-homosexual and lesbian and ancient Greece and Rome, they're the same way today, aren't they? Nothing has changed. Same way they're pro-pedophilia. Back then, they're pro-pedophilia in this society. Nothing has changed. Same way they were racist 300, 400, 500 years ago going back, they're still racist to this day. Nothing has changed. The same way black people still got a Uncle Tom mentality, a slave mentality 300, 400 years ago. Nothing has changed. Still the same. Still looking for the white man to give them a hug, a pat on the shoulder, a pat on the head, and accept them like slaves. Nothing has changed. Why? Because it's not in them mentally to move past that. It's not in them mentally to evolve past that. And the true person who has natural intelligence, right, that natural power energy moves past things in their lives. They move on. They move on to another level. They think on a higher level. They are not guided by the past. They are pulled by the future. They are propelled by the future. They are pulled forward by the future because they have made inroads. They have made connections. They have made ties to the future through their family, through their bloodline, through their thoughts. They have made connection to the future. They have the ability to connect to the future, to create a future out of thin air, to put themselves, what I mean by that is to put themselves in those higher dimensions, in those future dimensions by constant thought and movement. That is the power of natural intelligence and natural energy, which is solar energy, to propel yourself. As fire propels forward linear, that is the same way. The same way. Water always seeks its level. Water always seeks its level, meaning spiritual always seeks that spiritual connection, that artificial connection. And there is where they stay. There's where they connect at a lowest level. So, again, as we are constantly finding out or igniting with that solar connection, that supernatural energy, that natural intelligence, that natural mentality, that is the step forward. That is the step forward. We stepped away from the things that are in that circular rotation of spiritual energy, spiritual essence of circular artificial intelligence. We stepped away from that. We stepped outside the circle, or as they say in this society, we stepped outside or thought outside the box. The box was meant to be a trap. The box was meant to be a trap for the human race that carries artificial intelligence and energy. It is meant to be a box for them. They're given the box to think inside of because they would not know how to think outside of it. They admitted to you that there is a box because nobody would have said, if there was no box and there was nothing, and you were not thinking inside of it, nobody would have ever said you got to think outside the box. Why did they say that if that's not real? Why is that such a popular saying? Think outside the box. If you're saying think outside the box, then obviously somebody created a box for you to think within, and that box represents limitations. That box represents limitations. All this is done for a reason. While you are moving in circles and within that square, within that circle, while you are moving in these circles, in these squares, in these enclosed spaces, there are others who are attempting to move linear, outer. There are others who are trying to move outer and linear. The same people who told you that you were Africans, the same people that told you now they're putting out that why, because that's just not you Negroes thinking about you Indian. Somebody else put that in your ear too, to buy themselves time. These are the same people who are pushing themselves as Superman, as Wonder Woman, as nextraterrestrials, or as you call them extraterrestrials, nextraterrestrials, next level beings. They're pushing themselves as that, while they telling you that you African. While they coming up with characters like Black Panther and telling you from Africa that life started on a piece of dirt in a dry land, and that's where you come from, and that's where you're going to return, that's where you should put your mind on. These people are focused on becoming Supermen and Wonder Women, supreme beings, going outer dimensional, outer space. You already know who I'm talking about. While they got the world programmed by artificial intelligence, with artificial mentalities and artificial energy, their mindset is outer dimensional. They're trying to get outer dimensional. They're asking for that power. They got the world moving in circles, and they trying to move in a straight line. They got the world moving like zombies. That's black people, white people, right? Asians, East Indians, right? The whole human race. And these elites, the Zionists, they're the ones that got everybody moving in a circle. They got everybody moving in a circle. You understand that? That's why you find them in the education system, where they teach you a curriculum. Remember, I said the word curriculum. In the word curriculum, you see the word circle. That's why they got your children learning a certain curriculum, a limited way of thinking. Colleges, and the motion picture industry, in the studio, and everywhere in programming, everywhere that deals with your life, these people have their hand in to control what you think, how far you think, and your limitations, to constantly produce limited and artificial beings, right? To produce an artificial mentality, even your attitudes toward things. They have these magazines that you so-called black women read, and you women all in general read, where you get these ideas about men, right? And these articles you read and these books you read, who you think writing these books, who you think writing these articles. I kept telling you what social engineering really is. It's another rotation or rotative program that's being pushed out to control you. You understand? To control your mind, to move in a circle, to keep you in that spiritual transient state, to keep you in that spiritual transient zombie-like state. That's what it's like. When you see those blank stares in the faces of robots, in the faces of people, in the faces of those who are spiritually and demonically possessed, when you see that white in the eyes represents those who are possessed by that spiritual energy. That's what that represents. So they figured, you know what? We might as well create cyborgs, robots, and all kinds of other artificial life forms to replace the humans, and just get rid of the humans. See, the advantage point to that is your artificial life forms, your AIs, your cyborgs, your robots, you don't got to worry about them overpopulating the earth because they can't have children. See, that's the only reason why they want the humans going, because they don't want to run into this problem of overpopulating the earth. Now, if humans were homosexuals, lesbians, more humans were homosexuals and lesbians, or were sterile and couldn't have children, then they'd be fine. They would be fine. But because that's not the case, that many of them can still procreate, you have to then wipe out these people, get rid of a segment of people, and then replace them with this AI, this artificial intelligence. right? That will do exactly what they are told to do by the elites. Work like robots, work like slaves. Don't ask for wages, don't ask for unions, don't ask for none of this stuff. Basically, be slaves. That's it. Because that's really what the real workforce was designed like. The real workforce in the society was basically a slave system. That was the real work system that they wanted, a slave system. And they didn't care if it was black or white. The only reason they made it all went against the so-called black, because after a while, there was a lot of so-called black people here, and they needed all the help they could get, because they figured if they threw the whites in slavery, then the blacks and whites would fight together to free themselves. They would fight together, so they told the whites to give them more ammunition, to give them more backup, to give them more of a edge. They told the whites, you can own them, and you got rights, and they don't have no rights. But the so-called Caucasians don't understand they were being programmed as well. They were being programmed as well. The same way the slaves were being programmed, they were being programmed as well. They were being programmed as master slaves. They were being programmed as master slaves, and they were too stupid to see that. You understand? They tried to call them indentured servants at one time, the so-called Caucasian. They called the blacks. That was the giveaway, the clue. They called the so-called blacks slaves, and they called the whites indentured servants, right? So the whole idea was basically to enslave whites and blacks. That was the whole idea. And it was the elites who planned to do that. The race thing didn't matter, but they realized that they couldn't hold that in place if they didn't have the whites on their side to basically be the foot soldiers. So that's when they put the whites over the blacks, and that's when they created this whole race thing. That's the reason why they created it. But when you're dealing with people who have that artificial mentality and that energy, right, that spiritual energy, they can't see these things. They can't think that far. Not even if you explain it to them. They can't think that far. Even the most so-called intelligent, even if it's the most so-called intelligent, so-called in this society, they're not very bright. They're not good at figuring things out. They're good at basically repeating information, right, that they were programmed within their educational in the educational system. But beyond that, beyond giving them a compass to think, beyond giving them a direction to think, and they can't think. They can't think. Thinking requires a soul. True thinking requires a soul. The only ones who can truly think are those who have souls. Spiritual people don't think. Spiritual people believe. Why you think there's so many spiritual people in religion? Because what is religion based on? Belief. It's not based on thinking. You have to have soul to think. Those who have soul, that fire in their chest, mean they have that fire in their body, they're ignited to go forward. So in order to go forward by way of that pulsating motion and fire, you have to have a thought process. Because thinking works off of solar energy. Thinking works off of solar energy. That's why they say, you are when you're intelligent, what do they say? You are a what? A bright person. Do they not say that? Do they not say that? They say when you thinking, when you smart, when you are an intelligent person, they say you are a bright person. Do they not say that? Why do they say that? Because what they're really saying is thinking, true thinking and intelligence moves off of solar energy. That brightness they're talking about is sun or solar energy, because sunlight permeates, or is supposed to permeate the physical makeup of a person, right? And it is also supposed to put information or intelligence into you to trigger you forward. But the only way you can receive that intel or that intelligence is if you have a soul, because your soul is like has a magnetic connection to the sunlight. Your soul, your solar energy has a magnetic connection to it. It's not, in other words, that sun or that solar energy is not going to come into spiritual beings. That sun or that solar energy is not going to come into spiritual beings. It's not. Because the sunlight is only going to go where it recognizes similar or the same or related energy. In other words, it's going to go where it recognizes soul at. It's not going to go where spirit is because spirit is artificial. That's why if you notice when the so-called Caucasians get under the sun, they passing out, they losing their mind, they going crazy, right? They getting burnt up, skin cancer. But notice they can thrive in the winter and more in winter climates. They thrive more in winter climates because winter is based on what? Freezing of water. It's based on freezing of water. Cold is based on what? Water. Water temperature. Right? The freezing of water temperature. That's cold. So they can thrive in that, but when the heat is on, the summer's on, the heat is up there, they can't move in that. They're getting fried in the sun. They losing their mind because that solar energy is trying to find its way into them mentally. It's just like a guiding system is trying to recognize what they are. The solar energy is trying to recognize the humans and what they are because they're trying to transmit the solar energy. The way the almond being sent it, it was to transmit messages. And it is trying to recognize who and what they are. And when the sun, solar energy or that projected light does not recognize those that are beneath it, start to burn it away and destroy it. They telling that lie. The white man now telling this lie that, oh, those who got so-called melanin, a.k.a. carbon, those who have carbon, we have a hard time absorbing sunlight, which is a lie. Oh, because you have melanin in your skin, you can't really absorb sunlight. The melanin in your skin blocks the sunlight, which is why y'all don't got vitamin D. That's a damn lie. That's a lie. If that's true, and they say white people they have an easier time absorbing sunlight, because that's what he said, then why are they burning up under the sun? Why do they got skin cancer? Why do they got melanoma? If they can absorb sunlight, why is that a problem with your East Indians and all these other people? Why do they have things like melanoma? Why are they burning up under the sun if they have vitamin D and they can absorb vitamin D and get the sunlight? The very thing, how are you going to say carbon is produced by sunlight? Carbon is produced by sunlight that germinates, that pushes it into the earth. Just as gold and all the other elements, carbon, all elements are produced by sunlight. So how is it that we are vitamin D deficient? How is it that we can't absorb sunlight if we have the very element in us that is produced by sunlight? That makes no sense. That makes no sense whatsoever. But they can tell believers anything. They can tell a believer anything. We've been here for millions of years on the planet. And you mean to tell me we ain't been absorbing any vitamin D? We vitamin D deficient. We haven't been absorbing any so-called vitamin D, or we haven't been absorbing the sunlight. So how do we live this long? Because you need that to live here. You need that. They absorb it in lower levels, which is why they look the way they are, your so-called Caucasians and the rest of your humans. And this is also why their intelligence is limited. Because in order for you to have extended intelligence, you have to be able to absorb the most sunlight. Because on the sunlight, on the projected light, is intel, transmission. It's there. The almond beings are constantly sending that transmission or that intelligence to the planet every single second. And if you do not get that intel, if you do not get that transmission that's coming through the projected light of the sun, in which the almond beings are sent, then you will get something called sundowner's disease. Look that up. I talked about that before. You will fall into states of dementia. You will start to forget things. You will start to lose memory because that memory has to be charged. That memory has to be charged by sunlight. It's like how you have a battery that starts to run low, or a cell phone, whatever, that starts to run low. The battery starts to run low. What do? You have to stick it in the socket and you have to charge it. It has to find a source to connect to. That's the same way the sunlight works and that projected energy. When you are not charged daily by that solar energy, by that sunlight, you're going to start to wear down mentally. Things are going to be forgotten. You're going to lose memory. So that solar projection, that connection to the sun, is what charges you to go further. It gives you that cognitive skill. It gives you that memory. It keeps your memory intact. It extends your memory. All right? That is what that's for. That's what that's for. But they want to tell you, oh, you don't get that. You don't get that. But your memory and your way of thinking is more extended or more advanced than theirs is. So how is it that you're more intelligent than they are? Your skills for logic and rationale is more advanced than they are. The only reason why you don't practice that is because you're educated by them not to use your thinking, not to think. You're educated by them to believe. That's why you don't get that. That's why your logic and rationale does not kick in. Your thought process or processing equipment, your mental processing equipment does not kick in because you're educated by them. And they tell you to not think, to believe what we say. That's what they do. They get you in the education system to reprogram you. That's what they get you there for, to program you, aka reprogram you to follow what they say, to turn you into spiritual beings. Right? That's what they get you there for. They tell you to stop thinking and to start following what they tell you to follow. Believe what they tell you to believe. Basically start to operate on an artificial mentality and an energy like the rest of the human race. That's what they want you to do. That's why you still follow them to this day. That's why you believe everything the so-called white man tells you. You believe everything. You tell you African, you believe that. He tell you you're Indian, or you Negroes believe you Indian. Y'all believe you Indians now. You know, you believe whatever he tells you. I'll take a call. 347.
Hello? Hello,
Yeah.
you can hear me?
Yes, I can.
Yeah, I just wanted to call in and say you are on point with the school system, because in school, like, I'm about to stop going, because when I was in there, they didn't want me to think about nothing. They keep giving me a bunch of philosophies, and I'm like, yo, why do I need somebody else's philosophy in order to think about things? Then they was like, oh, because it will help you, and I'm like, how is that going to help me? It's coming from somebody else. You're not letting me think about nothing.
Yeah, they don't want you to think, because if you think on your own, they can't program you. And the mass majority of the people here are moving off of artificial intelligence and energy, spiritual energy, which they constantly program every day. See, when you're dealing with solar connection or solar power, that intel and that energy is constantly updated by the Amen being through the projected solar energy. So that's meant to extend you in a solar procession and a natural form of intelligence and a natural form of energy and power. But they operate it from the artificial side, your elites.
Yeah, I do that every morning.
Mm-hmm.
Like in the morning, before I have classes in the afternoons and stuff. In the mornings, I have to be outside. I have to be outside between from 11, 12, 1, and 2, because that's like when the sun is really potent out there. And I'm out there staring at the sun. And people walking past me, looking at me like, why is he just sitting there or standing there staring at the sun? And I'm like, they don't even need to know what's going on right now. But I'm absorbing everything that is coming from the sun. And then when I go into the schools, they tell me to use the computers, because most of the assignments nowadays is on computers, and I can't use the computers because the computers hurt my eyes. Then I did some research, and I found out that the blue light from the computers damages the retina, whatever it's called, that's inside the pupil of your eyes. It damages it, and it causes your eyes to be itchy, red, dries your eyes out, and all this other stuff. Long story short, it'll make you blind. But they have people sitting in front of these computers for 3-4 hours straight. And I can't sit in front of a computer for more than 5 minutes straight without my eyes hurting.
Yeah, well, that's the whole plan. They know what it does. They want you to basically, have that artificial or that covering over your eye and whatnot, so that you can't really pick up anything other than what they're programming you to pick up. Because that's why I said what I said about the video games. I said when the children
I
are
don't
playing
like video games.
They're being programmed. They're being programmed and subconsciously programmed to sit still and receive transmissions. They're being, or submissions and whatnot. They're getting the same way they sitting there playing a video game. They're being hypnotically controlled. That's why they can't move. They're being hypnotically controlled.
It's the same thing with like certain television shows, right?
Mhm. Yeah. Whenever you sit
Wow.
there, and whenever they got you sitting there, whenever they got you sitting there watching a quote unquote program, you're literally being programmed to think on a certain level. You're being same way with the video game. You're being programmed, and you're receiving transmission through that video game that you're not even aware that you're receiving. That's why the children are sitting there and they're playing the game and whatnot, and they're getting messages because the beast will always take an opportunity to you when he got your full attention, when he has you. He has you by music, when he has you by television, movies, and things like video games. He's going to take that time and take advantage of the fact that he has your full attention to program you. He's going to do it. So, like I said, remember in the music, when they used to do the albums, they would play the albums backwards, and there was messages in the albums. People would hear a certain message. Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. I used to listen to like certain Michael Jackson songs, and he would actually talk about like, he in one of his songs he was talking about being molested and stuff like that. It was actually Smooth Criminal, and he talked about being molested, but you only can hear it when it's played backwards. And I was like, wow.
Mhm. Yeah. They say all kind of stuff in the because you're subliminally hearing it, and it's going in your head, and you're not cognizant of it. Same way with the video games. You might be playing damn Call of Duty or something like that, and you all focused on the game or whatnot, but there's messages and the sound effects. There's messages going into your head. They're programming you.
Right.
Yeah.
So.
Or you watching TV. Or you watching TV or watching a movie, and they'll put certain images in your face. Or the actors will say certain things, and you'll be like, "Why he said that?" What And next thing you know, whatever the actor said is in your head. So that's what they do. They program you.
It stays in your memory
a certain way. Mhm. Yeah. It stays in your memory, and next thing you know, you're following these things out.
Yeah, I can't watch TV either. Like I tried to, and I can't because I realize when you watch TV for at least more than an hour or 15 minutes or 20 minutes or so, it actually takes your awareness, and that's what also calcifies your pineal gland and your third eye. And because like before I wasn't aware of it in my teen years, but now that I got older, I noticed the difference. Like I feel more drained mentally when I watch TV, and I'm like, why is that? So
because
everything is pretty much.
They're stepping up more heavily. They're stepping up heavily with the programs now. It wasn't. I mean, they was doing it before, but now they're really stepping it up. They're stepping up the program.
So everything is really geared to.
That's why you see more homosexuality, more lesbianism, more race mixing. They're stepping up the program.
Wow. So pretty much everything that's really here is pretty much for your downfall. Pretty much.
Yeah, for the most part, yeah. Because what you have to understand is they have to constantly. They're basically here. The elites. They're here to basically destroy human life. They're here to destroy human life. Anything to sacrifice to their government, aka their gods, to bring down the population and get rid of the humans and whatnot. So they're here to basically destroy. They can't have a mass killing of people. So what they do is they basically have things like world wars. They program people to kill themselves.
Yeah, they do it in like a little clever way.
They unleash. I want you to hear something. They unleash serial killers into society to go out and kill people. When you hear about a lot of these serial killers that never get caught, it's because they unleash these serial killers out onto the public, and these serial killers are like human animals that go and hunt other humans. They go out there. They purposely programmed to go out and hunt humans and kill them.
So they're like bounty hunters for humans.
Yeah, they're out there
for the humans.
Yeah.
I don't care about humans.
Serial killers out there. It's so many serial killers out here who never get caught. They're designed to get caught. They just designed to basically go off the grid and just kill people, and they just keep it moving. Yeah, a lot of those people who program like that.
Wow. Now that's something different I did not know.
That's true. That's real.
Wow. Well, I'm about to stop going
That's
to
why.
these
That's
schools.
why. That's why people.
Sense.
This is why people. This is why people go missing every day. You got to be careful. This is why we need a community, and we need the men and women protect the men protecting the women and the children, because people go missing all the time. Children go missing and whatnot. These people are riding around snatching children off the street. They're programmed to do that. You know, snatch children and sacrifice. And they're going into sacrifices and whatnot, and killing the children, taking their blood, and whatnot, using their blood sacrifice and all that.
This girl that I know that I went to school with, I went to a performing arts school. Her name is Bria, and she went missing. She was on like a brownish, carbonish kind of complexion, and she went missing. And I'm like, oh, how's she going missing? She's one of those types that's like never by herself type of thing. But they never found her, and I seen her Facebook picture and saying that she's been missing for such and such days, and I'm like, that's crazy. Like, I never expected.
How long ago was this?
This was like less than a year ago, but she's still missing. They never found her.
Yeah, that's why you got to be careful. You got to be careful of the people you're hanging around now, the people who coming out here befriending you, because there'll be people that's next to you who you think are your friends, and they've been programmed. You know, they've been programmed to snatch you up and kill you. Or you're saying, or you disappear. You got to be careful. The women you laying down with, the men that you women are meeting out here. Like I said, they snatch women off the street. You don't never get heard from again. They sacrificing these women and these men. You don't know who they paying to do this stuff. It's bands of these people who are programmed to do this, because they don't have any conscience. They don't have any mindset of right and wrong or logical, and they just doing what they're programmed to do by the beast. So again, this deals with these people who carry their artificial. They like robots. They're literally like robots. They're programmed.
So how do you go about?
Hold on. Let me finish. Let me get this out before you start talking. They're programmed to literally just do. You know what I'm saying? They're programmed to literally do what they're told, which is you're going to get paid to be over here and do this and snatch these people off the street and do this, that, and the third, and blah, 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 and that's it. You understand? And they doing this. They're not thinking about that. All they're thinking about is I'm going to get some money, I'm going to get some food, and I'm going to eat, and I'm going to have some place to live. And those are those people who program. They don't have the thought, like, this is not right, this is wrong, I shouldn't be doing. You have so many people out here who do that, who do stuff like this. All right?
Wow.
Yeah, like MK Ultra. Yeah, a lot of them is programmed like that. So you got to be careful.
Yeah, I heard of MK Ultra. You've seen it in a couple of the celebrities.
They like robots. Yeah, they robots. Like a lot of these celebrities are they're not. They are human, but your humans are like robots. They don't have any conscience. They don't understand right and wrong or morals or logic or rationale or they don't understand it. They're programmed to be like, I want to have this amount of money. I want to live here. I want to eat this much food. That's all they think about. They only think about those who focused on material possessions in the three-dimensional world. People, place, and possession. They artificial. That's an artificial mentality. The people that all they care about is going to work, coming home, going to sleep, sex, eating, all the very small things in that three-dimensional world. Those are people who are programmed to have artificial intelligence. I'm not saying they robots, but they got the mind of robots. That's why they do the routine. Anything outside the ritual or the routine throws them off. Anything beyond that throws them off. They can't think that far.
Wow. So that's like with the educational system, because they do everything in what is that? What do they call it? Systematic education, something like that.
And a curriculum. They have a curriculum. I tell you what. Ask a so-called educated person. You ask a so-called educated person something outside of what they've been taught, something outside their curriculum, and it could be something logical. It don't have to. It ain't got to be nothing crazy. It could be something logical and rational. But it's something they weren't educated on, a program to think on. They'll look at you like you lost, like they lost. They ain't gonna know what the hell you talking about. You ask them something that's beyond their level of education or beyond their level of thinking, which they've been programmed to think on, they'll look at you like they look at you like you crazy or something. They look at you like like they got trapped in some place. They're gone. They lost.
I'm going to do that.
Yeah, I've done it several times with so-called educated people. You try
Seriously?
you try to get them to think outside the box. They lost. They can't think outside the box. The box is the education system. They can't think outside that. They can't think beyond what they told. They're slow.
Wow.
Mentally, they're slow. Because the ones who program them ultimately, they're a little faster, but they're also slow too. Because when you're not charged by that solar intelligence, you're going to always be slow because you're moving off of that artificial, spiritual, or water-based energy.
Wow. So
and the water is tainted. And the water is
question.
tainted. The water is tainted. That's why it moves slow. But go ahead.
So do you think the bronze people that are like in the education system that is run by the beast, do you think they're caught in that artificial education too?
Yep.
Is there a way they can get out of this?
It's not just black. It's not white. It's the whole. It's so-called all of them. They don't when they say again, they're letting you know when they say think outside the box, they're not able to do that. Like I said, when I approach the so-called Pan-Africanist people, this goes to show you what I'm talking about. Now, they've been programmed in school to believe that they African American, the white man told them they come from Africa. But then I said, okay, so you telling me life started on dry land and that life started this place and the white man called it Africa. So how are we African if a white man who wasn't here before you had to tell you were African? Y'all didn't say y'all was African, so how does he tell you African and he's younger than you on the planet? He the one called you African. They draw a blank. They won't. They look at it like they mind don't go that far. They never thought like they said. I never thought of it that way before. Why not? That's just logic. That's not even nothing hard. That's not even hard to think about.
It wasn't programmed. Wow.
Yeah. They only program to think to a certain level, and they'll show you that every time you ask them things. Especially these people, these so-called intelligent or woke people, as they call them, the woke people. You ask them something that's based in pure logic, something that's not been programmed to them by the beast through this whole woke movement. They'll look at you like you crazy. They won't know what the hell you're talking about. It could be something that's logical, and they lost. They're lost.
Wow.
All right.
Okay, thank you. I don't want to take up too much of your time, but thank you.
All right.
All right, peace, bro.
Peace. We'll take another call. 702.
Hey. Oh, good evening, Ruben. I just had I'm all right. I'm a little tired. I just had a couple questions. So, one of my questions was, for like the so-called black people who are like starting communities or in the process of starting communities for black people and doing like pro-black people, this and that, pro-businesses and all that stuff. What would you say
let me ask you, before you tell me that, who's doing that?
Well, the person I have a child with, my ex, my child's father. We just had a 4-hour argument because I'm pro bright race, and he's pro everybody. And he's like, tell me this, tell me that. He just had a zillion questions for me, and something I just wanted to bring to light. Because he's asking me questions, and I'm just looking like, well, I'm not sure, but I'm pretty sure it's better than what you're doing, or it will be.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But
he's saying what?
Yeah.
He said what he's doing is better than whatever you're doing. That's what he said.
Oh yeah, he said that. But I could say I didn't have anything. Let's just say everything that I said, he had 50 questions for. And being that.
Hold on. Before you go on, that's what I would. Hold on. Before you go on, now I want y'all all to understand. What did she just say? She said everything she said he had 50 questions for. So what did I say a couple of days ago? Those of you who were paying attention to the broadcast, I said that's that demonic possession because Those
Yeah.
people will always ask questions, and don't really want an answer to the question. Everything is always a question after question. And like I said, there's nothing wrong with asking a question if you truly want the answer for clarity. He don't really want no clarity. He just wants to constantly question things because he don't really want to follow any real stream of intelligence because he's not programmed to. He's spiritual.
It's so funny that you said that. Because a lot of times
so to have any real trying to reach a solution or to explain anything, it was a waste of time. He's already programmed with this everybody, we are the world, everybody mentality because that's how humans are programmed. They're programmed to think in a spiritual flow of energy, which is based on emotion. But as I said, that spiritual energy or that spiritual water that they're vibrating on is tainted. It's tainted, you understand, with all kinds of beliefs, ignorance, and things like that. This is why they will always ask the question, never really wanting to answer.
Yeah. And as I was saying, it's funny that you said that because every time I went to open my mouth, he was already saying no, 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 no. It's like you just asked me a question, let me answer you. But he was already saying no before I could even say anything. Like no matter what I said, he had already done research on, like he listened to you, already done research, and he's telling me, do your research, read this, and I said, what, you wanted me to find out what a white man wrote? It's not right, it's not true. If a white man didn't write it, but that goes back to my question, like when he was, so pretty much he's saying, I'm working on getting a community of black people together and, we're going to have properties and I'll support these businesses or whatever. So pretty much what what you're doing is BS. That's what he's trying to tell me. And it's a bit.
Well, let me ask you. Hold on, but let me stop you. Why ain't he on here telling me that?
Because he ain't got the guts
exactly.
to. He don't. I feel like
and in saying that, you know what you need to do? I'm gonna cut you up. I'm gonna let you finish. You need to get up and leave him.
Mm-hmm.
Leave.
Oh, we're not together
tomorrow.
Anymore.
Good. That's the best. That's the best thing. That's the best thing you could ever do, honey. That's the best thing you could ever do. Leave him.
And
he's a nigga.
He's
a nigga, and he's a damn demon.
Later.
And he's the white man's nigga. He's the white man's nigga. He ain't gonna get no black people together to do nothing because he love everybody. These Negroes that love everybody and want to be black and all this stuff. That's that new group of woke Negroes. Get away from them. Though they programmed by the beast. The same way you got that Black Lives Matter movement. That's really the Black Lesbians Matter movement. They all a bunch of demons. They programmed by the beast.
And he told me that it don't matter who our daughter brings home. She can bring home a Kyle, white guy, or a girl, as long as he treats her nice or whatever. He doesn't care.
Oh, see.
And I'm just
no, he bugged that.
See,
not that, just by that. He show you he got demons on it. What kind of man says, I don't care who my child brings home? What kind of person would say something like that? He got demons on him. So your daughter could bring home, if y'all had a child together, your daughter could bring home another woman, a white man, another woman. He don't care.
He doesn't care. Our daughter is 6 years old, and now I'm in a messed up situation. Like, she's gonna have split learning. Like, I want to homeschool her. He's not having that. He won't.
Oh, y'all have a child together?
Yeah, she's 6 years old, and
it's a boy or a girl?
We're a completely different girl.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I have a big situation on my hands.
Well, he a demon.
But,
he's a demon. All right, he's a demon, and he's vibrating on spiritual energy from the white man, as you can see. So all that black talk don't mean nothing because he just said he don't care. So why is he even talking about doing something with black people if he got this we are the world mentality like he want to help out everybody? He should be on the everybody kick. See, what he really mean is everybody, but he just trying to play the black card. He don't really mean that. So like I said, that guy, people like that, he bugged out of his mind. He got demons all up and down up in him, and he ain't gonna do a damn thing but sit up here and, like I said, he sound like one of them bohemian Negroes.
Yeah, and he said we sound like Hitler and
See, hey, hold on. He said, hold on, pause. He said we sound like Hitler. Who would say something like that? Who would put that in the minds of him to say something like that? But the Jews, but the Zionists. Anybody who speaks about supremacy, you sound like Hitler. But it's okay for the white Zionists to talk about they're the chosen people of God. That's okay for them to do. It's okay for them to push supremacy. But the minute Nuben Menkarre said it, I'm Adolf Hitler or I'm speaking like Hitler. That's because he's programmed by the Zionists. He's nothing but a Negro. He's nothing but an empty vessel. I wouldn't. You know what you should do? Like I said, honestly, is your daughter? And I'm gonna make a very strong statement here. Is your daughter more drawn to you or to him?
I think it's split. Because she has.
Well, you should ask your daughter one day. You should ask your daughter one day. You should ask your daughter one day who does she want to be with, or who she more. Just real pay attention to that, because this is going to help you make a decision right here. Because you need a clean break from him. All right, I wouldn't even talk to him no more. And if you gotta cut your daughter off, because, and I say this, and I'm gonna say it this way, and don't misunderstand what I'm about to say here. If you gotta even cut your daughter off and let her go stay with him, you might as well go ahead, because no matter what you try to instill in your daughter, he's gonna try and destroy it, because he's a demon. He's gonna mess it up. So let her decide. You can talk to her and whatnot, but you need to be away and just go ahead and restart your bloodline someplace else with somebody else. Because he's a demon, and he's going to try to make your daughter into a demon like him. No matter what you instill in her, he's going to mess it up. That's why I say you have to be very mindful of who you lay with, who you have children with, because, like I said, they show themselves to be this. You have to be very careful. It's nothing but a bunch of black demons out here, a bunch of those who are working off of that artificial intelligence.
Yeah, 6 years ago, I didn't know.
Yeah.
But actually, the one I'm with now, he's the one who introduced me to you.
Okay.
So,
well, y'all need to start a family ASAP and whatnot, and join the Republic of Mentellect, and just forget about him. I wouldn't even talk to him no more. I wouldn't act like I wouldn't forget about that Negro. That should be the dark period in your life.
He's already threatening me with legal stuff.
Well, see, that's because
if you have a problem with it, we can do something about it. We can do something about it. Like.
Well, he's a demon. That's what he demonically possessed. So you've been like, what do you want about? If it's about some child thing about it, you can have our daughter. Go ahead. That's it. I'll just talk to her from time. You can have custody. Just start all over again. The end.
It's easier said than done.
Well, I mean, hey, sometimes you got to do some things. Sometimes things have to. Nothing really appears easier, but you only make it harder. You make it hard.
Mhm.
All right.
Mhm. Well.
All right.
I see. But yeah, I was curious to know, like, for other communities that are bringing so-called black people together, like, what would you say is the biggest thing about, like, the most wrong thing about that? Like, if they are being positive and stuff like that, and they're with their own people and stuff, not too religious. I've met a few people that were not really religious. They were just more for the betterment of their people. What would you say is missing from the equation?
Who they really are, and the fact that they're slaves. Because, again, there's no such thing as black people. So if you're getting together on the idea that you're black people, that's already a disconnect, because there's no such thing as black people. If you don't even have a real identity and a real connection, then you don't have any purpose for coming together, because the whole purpose of coming together is supposed to be about the future of what you're going to produce. So if you don't even know in the outset of moving toward the future who you are, what your goals should be, and whatever the case may be, then how are you coming together on anything?
Yeah. Okay.
This guy, you just said, here it is. You said your ex. Hold on. You just said your ex is supposed to be the leader of these uncanny X-Men, or black X-Men that's going to come together and whatnot. And they're going to get money and all this other. And all they're going to really do when they go get money, give it right back to the white man. That's all they're going to do. But let's just say they happen to get together. Now he's supposed to be the leader, but I guess he pro-black, or you say he pro-everybody. I don't know which one it is. How you either you pro-black or you pro-everybody?
Mhm.
Which one is it? Is he pro-black or pro-everybody?
he speaks like he's pro everybody, but he says things and he says his actions are pro black. But like
okay, that
yeah,
okay.
I'm not too much in his business. We just had a 4-hour argument, and I was just like, I can't.
That's nothing. That's nothing but confusion. You know why you can't? Because that's nothing but confusion, and he's confused.
That's all it was.
And those people who are demonically possessed, they are confused. All right. He went to school. He got educated. Right. He got a college degree.
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
No.
Well, he considers himself to be well read and educated.
Mhm.
Okay, of course he do, and that's because in the system of the white man, when he calls himself educating you, it's really to confuse you. And he sounds like a product of that confusion. He sounds just like I'm pro black, and I'm going to do something for my black people, but I'm pro everybody too. It's no such thing. Either you pro your people or not.
Mm-hmm.
Because if some white people want to join his community and say, if some white people want to, or some people of other races want to join his so-called community and tell him, look, I want to be part of your community since you pro everybody, is he going to tell them no?
I asked him that, and he said something like, I'm gonna get together with my people and we're gonna do what we're supposed to do. He didn't really give me a straight answer. And I took that as a yeah. He let him in. He let everybody in.
Okay, so then he ain't pro-black then.
Well, I tried to tell him, but he put up this whole 4-hour argument with me, and he told me when it comes to mixing, he asked me. He said, if you found out that the person you're with, their ancestors killed your ancestors, would you decide not to be with them anymore because of that? Just like it is with so-called black people and white people. Their ancestors killed our ancestors or whatever. And it's like. But that's just not the basis of it. But that's what he asked me. And I told him that's not the point.
Well, listen, I'm gonna just be honest with you. It just seemed like somebody like him, all he's about is confusion and just a circular conversation that leads nowhere. He's not trying to go anywhere. He's just, like I said, he's not going to start any community to do anything. 9 times out of 10, you started speaking on me, and now all of a sudden, how the so-called programmed black person work or the human works. They get a mind of jealousy, envy, and emotion. So now all of a sudden, I'm going to start a community for my black people. I'm like, but you just said everybody for everybody. So I wouldn't even waste no time talking to him anymore because he's a waste of mental energy. He's an idiot. He's an idiot.
I really wanted to extend the knowledge, because we do have a talk together, and I would like for us to be on the same page. But it's unfortunate that won't happen. But I can say that my daughter, she seems to be leaning towards the right side. But she's young. Kids are kids, and she's forced right now. She's forced to be in a public school, and I'm just gonna hope that there's a way we can still successfully raise her the correct way, even though she's exposed to those outside. Like there's really no way to really seclude yourself, to really isolate yourself from everyone. But I feel like there's a way you can isolate your mind, And I was telling him that you don't have to let your mind be influenced by outside stuff. And I told him she can use these people that she knows, I mean, not to be mean, because I don't want to.
Listen. I don't mean to, but you're wasting your time talking to him about anything. He's never going to get it. It didn't come from a white man. All right, he's programmed to listen to the white man. The white man can say something that don't make no damn sense, and he's all pro, like, yeah, you're right. That's think about. But you'll say something to make all the logical sense in the world. He'll never get it. So don't even waste your time. You talk, because you'll start talking in circles like him. People like that I just ignore. We get people like this all the time. Sometimes they used to come to my class and whatnot and just ask a whole bunch of idiotic questions and whatnot. And you could always tell they're not really asking to receive clarity. They're asking just to throw, to try to cause confusion. They don't really want to answer. They just want to cause confusion. They just want to talk to be talking. And that's that talk demon on them. That's that question. That's that demon that makes them go out here and play with Ouija boards and, asking all them questions on the Ouija board and whatnot, question after question after question. And they really don't want any answer. They go in and asking questions that are irrelevant. So that's those kind of people. They got that inquisitive spirit that really that has a quest just to be inquisitive. They don't have the quest. They don't question for answers. They quest because they want to be. They have that spiritual inquisitiveness, that demonic energy on them. Just be have that quest for to be inquisitive. That's it.
Yeah.
It's just babble.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, it's just babble.
Mm-hmm.
You got to call these things for what they are, and if you understand these people for who and what they are, you don't waste your time talking to them.
Yeah.
All right.
That's better. Yeah, I went back and forth for so long. It's like it was literally just a big circle, and just for me to still feel the same way I did in the beginning. It's like he's trying to change my mind, and I'm trying to change his. It's just a circle.
I wouldn't even waste my time.
Yeah.
All right.
It's a wrap.
Okay.
All right. Thank you.
Right. No problem. All right. We're gonna play a little bit of music. What I want to play. Let me see. I want to play a little bit of music. I want something. Cause I put a lot of time and energy into that segment. It is key to understand, like I said, that most of the people you're going to encounter carry that artificial intelligence. Right? They carry that. And I want to say to the sister I was speaking to, I didn't mean to seem cold or harsh or cruel about, your child and whatnot and your connection with your child, but you can't allow your connection with your child, with this man, to keep you from moving forward, because this person seems like he's going to want to be a demon in your life, constantly going back and forth with you, And I don't mean to tell you to sacrifice your child, but see, and the good thing about this system, this society that's set up by the beast is the child will 9 times out of 10, will go to the mother. So you always have parental right to your child before he will as a man. So you can have your child and whatnot, and grant him a little visitation rights, and that's it. You got more rights than anything in the world. So just push up for your for your rights as the mother, because they're always going to give the rights to the woman. You're going to get custody of your child. So he shouldn't really be much of a worry. Let me take another call. 919.
Greetings, new band.
Greetings. How you doing?
I'm doing well, thank you. How about you?
I'm good.
Wonderful. Listen, interesting show tonight. Information is very, very good. But I wanted to find out what's your take on sleeves, psychosec. It's a program where they're creating these human bodies, but they call them sleeves. And what they're doing, there's a facility that is run by Christopher Nyman. And what they're doing at that facility is that they're prolonging life. So what they're doing is they're digitizing the soul by making an incision in the back of the person's neck, and then they're downloading all their consciousness into a device, and then what they're doing is they're putting the consciousness into this body that they call a sleeve, and the body consists of human, or I don't know if it's human, but organs are in there, and they're saying in their report, as I was researching it, that the consciousness is your soul. And so I want to find out what's your take on that, and if you have any knowledge about that. In addition to that, I also want to find out, is that a classic way of them trying to introduce clones to the population?
Well, humans don't have
souls. On that?
Humans don't have souls, first of all. They cannot digitize souls, because soul is a solar projection that extends the memory, extends the body, and extends the soul outer dimensional. They can't digitize that. What they're trying to do is get a hold of the spiritual energy or that water-based energy that drives the limited memory and the limited uh, uh, lifetime makeup of the person. They're trying to extend that. This is why they're always doing the whole um, spiritual communes and things like that, and they're doing a lot of regenerating of spiritual energy and demonic energy, and they're just trying to transmit that into what you call sleeves. They're really talking about um, like not physical bodies, but like those cyborgs and things. Like they're trying to transfer that spiritual energy into those because those have a longer life on because they don't have physical hearts, physical organs, and things like that. It's more artificial, more than just the heart and the organs and things like that. They can be replaced like replacement parts. So again, this is like basically creating a robot to put spiritual energy into.
Wow. Yeah, because as I listened to you earlier, you stated that, they don't have to worry about robots because they don't procreate and, they can't really make everyone homosexuals or whatever because they don't procreate either, but they can't let all the population, be that. So what they're trying to do now, based on what you said earlier, they're releasing all kind of nefarious entities and people rather to go out and murder people. But it's interesting because in the research that I did, they said based on the people who want that immortality, to them, real death does not occur until the stack, which is the human sleeve, is permanently destroyed. So that's interesting. But do you think that's their way of the elite or the people who are opulent? Do you think that's their way of trying to prolong their life here on Earth based on the changes that are taking place within our planet, based on the solar system, on the radiations that are changing the dynamics in our planet right now?
Yeah, yeah. They know they can't exist as they are because all human life is artificial for the most part. All of it is, is artificial. I said before, humans are born to die. Those who are natural of the supernatural, or those who are of the seed of almond, they're born to live continuously. Those who are human are artificial. They're born to die. That's why, and they go into the earth and they feed the earth and they're biodegradable. Now, the humans want to extend their life and whatnot, and they want to do that. One way they're trying to extend it because the planet is changing and more solar energy and light projection from the sun is coming to the planet, and it's going to totally change the ecological structure of the planet because it's going to plant new elements into the planet and change a lot of stuff here and speed it up. So what they're trying to do two things. They're either going to do like you said, which is to create those artificial bodies to inhabit, use that spiritual energy, that demonic energy that they have to inhabit those bodies, or they're going to use the black woman to produce that race of mulattoes.
Okay.
But they can't go on. They can't go on as Caucasians. They can't go on as Caucasians on this earth. They can't go on there.
Yes, and last night, I think not last night, Monday night, your show was epic because I thought about what you said that mutts are not respected, only pure breeds. But, big respect in every aspect. But it's the truth. I mean, and facts are facts. Let's keep it real. But so now what that tells me is that if I am in a building and I'm looking at someone, they're not always so-called human or even real, are a real being because there's no way of telling, if at any point, you're interacting with some of these entities that are on the planet right now, because it seems like they're trying to make them globally at this point, So I thought that was quite interesting.
Mhm. See,
Yeah,
this is
so
why a lot of them. This is why a lot of so-called humans want to experience something called enlightenment or something beyond or outside the box, because they know they are in a box, and they are in a
yes,
self-imposed box, because they don't really think it's anything beyond the box that was designed for them as humans, as
yes,
limited beings. That's why they're always trying to talk about thinking outside of it, because they know they are in it. They know they're locked in that. They don't know what's outside the box, but they want to find out. And some of them, when they find out, they don't. They want to go back in the box.
yes, yes. Thank you so much. And yeah, great information. I want to also thank you for the information that you had dropped previously, also, and making more connection of the soul, and the movies that you at times make references to, even hidden figures, um yeah, because the melanin or the soul sister was the only one among all those white men that really had the power to do the calculations that they needed for the uh space, whatever, although they only go up into the above the atmosphere in the earth. They don't really go into space like they say they do. But anyways, it was epic. I'm not a movie person, but when people do make recommendation like yourself about a particular movie, I try to really do the work and see it. So I'm grateful for that. And then the information that you're giving out is just building like a sister like me, and a whole lot of other people. And so I'm just grateful, and I want to thank you for your information. Thank you for your take tonight and this um human sleeve creation that they're trying to bring about into the population right now. And so, eyes wide open. Thank you. I'm very grateful.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
All right, peace.
Bye-bye. Peace. Yeah, they want to basically have those robotic figures to go into. The spirit energies are going to want to inhabit robotic in it, straight up robots. And that's what the guy in Get Out, that's what he was basically saying. But he took it to the level of showing you that they basically wanted to put the brain of the Caucasian in the bodies of the black people. You understand? So it was basically that's another way of basically saying spiritual possession. Put the brains of the Caucasians in the bodies of black people, right? That's what they want. They want that so the next best thing, to create a better body, because they know they born dying. So the best thing to do is create bodies that'll last longer. Use titanium and all kinds of more artificial parts that will last longer. And they want to channel that spiritual energy or that demonic energy into those vessels, right? They want to channel them into those vessels. They want to create new vessels to channel that spiritual, aka demonic energy into. And that's what you're dealing with now. So I told you this is all real. This is the level they thinking on. This is why, like I said, they don't. You notice in this society they don't talk about the soul anymore. They talk only about spirit. Everything is spirit, 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 spirit. You don't hear the soul being mentioned no more. You don't hear it no more, do you? Why do you think that is? Because they know if they start to mention soul at this juncture, where the souls are starting to be reignited by Amen, then it's going to cause an explosion, a mental explosion in the natural people, in the elect people. The more and more you mention soul, it's going to click to you. So if you notice, I'm the only one talking about soul in this day and time. Nobody's talking about the soul like Nuben Menkares. Nobody's doing that. Everybody from black to white and everything in between is talking about spirit this and spirit that, spirit this and spirit that, because they following the spiritual energy or the demonic energy of the beast. in this three-dimensional world. They following that because the soul will lead directly to Amen. The soul will lead directly to Amen. What it say in the Genesis, for a second it said, and God blew into man, and man became what? A living soul. He didn't say a living spirit, it said a living soul. Right? So it's obviously it was saying in that Genesis that God actually had to have a soul to blow into man. So if God or the Creator, the Lord, the Most High, had a soul to blow into man that He created, aka your humans, and that was your first humans, your so-called clones or your so-called blacks, like I said, to blow soul into them, obviously that is a solar connection. Obviously, they were projected from sunlight by way of the Amen being who projected their image here onto earth. You understand that? That's just another way of saying that. And the spiritual energy came in the second party, on the second verse. That's where your spiritual energy came from. You understand? They created the spiritual energy after the solar energy projected itself here and projected what you now see as the so-called black race here. But a lot of your so-called black people have given up their souls, right? Which is where you get the whole thing of selling your soul to the devil, aka the white man, right? And the human, right? Selling your soul to the devil, cutting off connection, because selling your soul to the devil means cutting your connection with the Creator, cutting your correct connection with Amen, and thus becoming that artificial being, answering to their gods and fearing their devils. That's what that means. You become those artificial beings once you cut your connection with the Lord, with Amen. And that's what the majority of so-called black people did. That's why they are now artificial, right along with the so-called white man, the Eastern and the Asian, because all these fake gods they worship, spiritual entities. All of these fake gods, Allah, Jehovah, Jesus, Yahweh, Yahweh Shah, nothing but spiritual entities. Ask them, they'll tell you. They'll tell you their gods are spiritual, a.k.a. demons. Their gods are demons. You understand? They'll tell you. The African spirits of the ants, they demons, man. They demons. Anything that'll make you cut yourself, burn yourself, pierce yourself, and all this other stuff, that's demonic energy right there. And that's what the mentally artificial beings and those who carry that energy, they into. They carry that they make themselves open vessels for that. The artificial mentality and energy of the human race is spiritual energy. And that energy in that water or that spiritual energy is tainted. It's tainted. And that tainting or that poisoning of the spiritual energy is what causes the confusion. There is no confusion in the brightness, in the projection, in the light of Amen, the sun. There's no confusion. When there's tainted water, right? When you taint something that is created, it is always going to be tainted. But see, the sun or the soul was projected here, so that wasn't created. It was converted from something greater, so that cannot be tainted. The soul can't be tainted. You have to give over your soul. You have to disconnect yourself to Amen, the higher self, the outer dimensional self, in order to become part of that tainting, part of that artificial mentality and energy. You see these people all the time. If you look at these so-called entertainers and these people who have money in the world and these people that serve the beast, you could tell there's an artificial energy on them. The more and more you talk to them, you could tell that they're lost mentally. They're lost. You could tell there's missing pieces to these people. You could tell there's a missing energy or missing entity to these people. And like I said, they never find it in themselves. They're always going to remain lost. Right? They don't realize why they do what they do. They just out here in the world, and they're being programmed and manipulated by that artificial intelligence, by that spiritual energy, because the beast controls the artificial or the spiritual world. He controls that. The beast controls the spiritual world. Same way he controls, he is in charge of, he don't control it, but he's in charge of the spiritual world and the physical world. He's in charge of that. You understand? And the only way he's in charge of you is if you are connected to the three-dimensional world of people, place, and possession. If you're connected to that, then you're part of that artificial mentality and energy of the human race, if you're connected to that. If you can't see past this, if you cannot see past this and all you can see is this, then you're connected to this artificial mentality and energy of the human race. You're part of it. That means your soul has been cut off. Your soul is only moving. Your soul is only extending if it's connected to the Creator, which is Amen, who is Amen. That's the only way your soul is ignited. It has to be connected to the Creator. That is the only way your soul is becoming natural and then over time supernatural, right, as if it's connected to the Creator. If not, then you are one of these artificial beings. You're one of these artificial beings with the artificial mentality that only thinks about and only espouses and speaks on things that the so-called white man says, or these so-called learned men, or these so-called educated men say. You can't think past them. You can't think past them. Right? You can't see past nothing they saying. So that's a sign that you are under them. You're under their submission. That's a sign that you are under their submission, under their mindset, connected into their mentality. That's a sign. That's a sign that you are in alignment with the beast. And like I said, a lot of the people around you, they're going to show you that. They're going to show you that every day. Right? They're gonna show you this every day as time getting closer, and as we are extending ourselves, they're gonna start to get lesser and lesser, and they're gonna become more and more savage in their mentality, because when they see that they're not part of the extension, when they see that they're not part of that expansion, a lot of them are gonna just totally break down mentally. They're gonna break down mentally when they realize who they are really connected to, which is the beast. And that they're moving off of an artificial intelligence. When they learn that the soul energy and the spirit energy are different and you cannot possess two, and they are vibrating on the spiritual energy, which is the lesser, they're going to have a breakdown. Some are going to just go ahead and accept it and keep following the beast in that artificial energy. A lot are going to have a breakdown because a lot of them want to escape this spiritual, three-dimensional, artificial world and mindset, but a lot of them are unable to do it because they just can't realistically see past that. They are always making themselves open vessels to be that question or ask those questions. They constantly asking those questions that don't, with no answer, because they don't want the answer. They're constantly making themselves vessels for that demonic energy, and this is what's going to keep them connected to that artificial intelligence, that artificial mentality and energy, that spirit energy. They're always going to make themselves open vessels for that demonic possession. Am I making myself clear? I want to make sure I'm, making myself clear, because I would like to connect everything. This is all connected. This is all connected. You understand? This is all connected. So, and like I said, I know it's going to go over the mass majority of most people's heads, because they are connected to that spiritual energy. They are connected to it some way by way of emotion, by way of fear, anger, envy, all these things, jealousy. They're connected to it in some way, shape, or form, so they can't see past the three-dimensional picture. But past the three-dimensional picture, going into the four, is where true protection will be, true clarity and true salvation will be for the elect in this day and time. Past that, we ain't thinking about nobody else. Can't do nothing for people in the three-dimensional world. I can't do anything for them. And I'm not trying to do anything for them. My job is to focus on the natural mindset and energy of the elect, the Amen race. And in order to do that, excuse me, you have to point out that which is artificial amongst the humans who you're moving amongst. Those are the ones who you're moving amongst. You have to be very mindful of that. Be very careful of that. Because now, more and more, once you start to notice, you're going to stick out like a sore thumb, and they're going to start to come at you in certain kind of ways. They're going to show themselves to be something, right, totally different. They're going to show themselves to be who they are, right, to you. They're going to reveal themselves to you. That demonic energy is going to come out more and more because they ask the question. They are eternally plagued with the question. They are eternally plagued with the question. Like I said, that's not thinking. That's conjuring. That's not thinking, that's conjuring. Right? So, I'm going to go ahead and start answering these questions. What is the artificial mentality and energy of the human race? It's the spiritual energy. Because I said before, the spiritual side of this existence is very much as real as the physical side. The spiritual side and the physical side go hand in hand in this three-dimensional state. Right? So just as there's a physical side, it has to have an energy that's coursing through it to keep it in motion, even if that motion is limited. It has to have that energy coursing through it so that artificial energy of the human race, that artificial mentality is spiritual energy, water-based energy. Why? Because what pulls this moon pulls the tides on this planet, and the tides are pulled as a lunar connection, as a lunar magnetic connection. Those who have the solar magnetic connection, those are the ones who have the extended or the true artificial intelligence. Why? Because this ultimately is a solar system. In other words, this system is run on solar energy. This is a solar systematic system. This is a solar systematic setup. And though the water is pulled by the moon on this planet, it is all done by way of the sun. So that's that spiritual energy represents the lesser or the limited light, the artificial power. And those who are vibrating on it carry that artificial mindset. Why is energy and the mentality, and why is the energy and mentality artificial? Because the humans are meant to be artificial. They were created. They were not projected here. The almond beings were projected here, and they had children here, and they produced or projected themselves here in every dimension. The elect represent them today. The elect represent them today. Those who are of the elect, who this resonates with, who've come home to the Republic of Mentellect, they represent the projection. Those who are not going to come home to this, they represent the creation. What is the natural mind and energy? The solar mind and the solar energy. That is the natural mind, aka the supernatural mind eventually, and the natural energy, the power, the soul power. Who has the natural mind and the natural energy? The elect, the chosen, the Mentellians. They have it, the real Mentellians, the ones who are going to come here and be here. I'm not talking about these Mentellians some people are going to come in here and join, and then they're going to leave and, whatever. That's the fake Mentellians. We haven't left for those. Those were the spiritual ones who came in here because they had the question burning in their head. What's that about? Well, I wonder what that's about. And once they got the question answered and it was over their head, they left out of here to go be demons elsewhere. They went to go be demonic figures elsewhere. They went to go back to serving the beast. Derek and Latanya. All right. Who has that natural mind and the natural energy? Okay, I answered that. That was the Mentellians. Will they be leaders of tomorrow? Yeah, they will be. They will be the judges of tomorrow. That's what they're being set up for. The elect are being set up for on the earth again. That's what they're being set up for on earth again. Pay attention to that. And that's it. And join me Friday night for the next MENTELLECT radio broadcast. I am the intellectual Nuben Menkares. This has been MENTELLECT Radio. Good night. Rising out the black race to the white race, out the black race to the white race. The students public of MENTELLECT, black race to the white race. If it's hell, and then it's hell us. They tried everything just to spell us. Fed us religion, gave us fake gods. Through all of that, we beat the odds. Now we coming together under one flag. Colors red, gold, and blue. Super
just me and you.